Hi, I'm Gloria Makarenko. Now this week we are eating our feelings. It is the holidays after all. This is Our Vancouver. Coming up, cakes, croissants, and petites sweets from Mon Paris bakery. And fighting higher food prices with a return to traditional foods for Indigenous people. But first, counting blessings and bringing in the new year with an amazing spread. Now, this season certainly has many of us counting our blessings after some tough years. And anyone in the restaurant industry has weathered the pandemic with supply chain issues, staff shortages, and more. But there are stories of surviving and thriving. And the owners of the Michelin-recognized Anh and Chi, they are preparing to ring in the new year in a big way. So sister and brother, Amelie and Vincent Nguyen, they're here to show us more. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Gloria, for having us.
And you brought a little bit of star power with you today as well.
Oh yeah, we brought the OG in the industry. Our friend Chef Wang Dang. He's quite established, and he's half Vietnamese, so we thought we'd bring him in, and also an advocate for sustainability.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it. Okay, the sustainability issue, we can get at that. But thank you. You're creating magic over there, so we'll let you get to it. Let's talk about your approach to New Year and why this year is special, Emily.
We feel really grateful. This past year, Anh and Chi, our community of guests, have been able to raise over $120,000 for local charities, inner city children, food literacy, the crisis in Ukraine. We were able to support that together. So we're really grateful for that. And then, earning the Michelin Bib Gourmand and Mom and our restaurant, our team being like the first Vietnamese restaurant in Western Canada to earn a Michelin. So we're just super grateful.
I know. Well, it's been an exciting year. Now, Vincent, tell us a little bit about your mother's influence here.
Mom, she's an amazing chef and has amazing palettes and flavors. And so this year we wanted to incorporate that with a bit of pushing our boundaries a little bit, bringing in such a Chef Wang to come in, give us some ideas, and then really accentuate those flavors, mixing of both the old school way and the new school way.
Okay, tell me what's coming. What's coming together on the plate in front of you right here? This looks amazing.
We have fresh pomelo, lightly charred, and salad here with side-striped local prawns that we have. On top here, you also see like a lightly fried sesame rice paper on that. And it's just a salad, so you can put whatever you really want in there.
It's not just a salad. Come on, this takes salad to a whole other level.
It is, and you're bringing flavors like rao ram or Vietnamese mint and some lime and zest. So, give it a shot.
Oh, I'm gonna do the squeeze.
Okay, but wait a second. What's this curly? What's the curly?
Yeah, so this is like rice noodles that are fried, and then a bit of sesame seasoning.
That's just a rice noodle?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just something so simple but fun.
Oh, that crunch is gorgeous. Okay, you put the lime on there?
Yes.
I'm gonna grab a prawn.
All right, we've made this with BC sprout prawns.
Really?
Yeah.
This is a local dish.
All local for you.
Yes, yes.
I love it, but the aroma of these gorgeous herbs is amazing too.
Thank you, and we add a touch of Mom's chili fish sauce in there.
That's the secret?
That's the secret.
Sorry, I'm talking and I'm eating at the same time. Let's talk about your approach to New Year's Eve then. What have you got planned?
Ooh, we have an 8-course tasting menu that travels from really light and refreshing all the way down to a really rich and aromatic Wagyu beef pho. So you'll journey through some of BC's finest ingredients. And we wanted to this past year, everything was possible. It seems like, and so moving into next year, we want to welcome all the possibilities and bringing in Chef Wang. We're kind of doing like a modern take on Vietnamese food, pushing the envelope.
I love it. I love it. Okay,
Yes.
what's he constructing here now, Vincent?
Next, so over here we have just like a winter greens, so watercress, banana blossom salad, water spinach salad. It's a middle mixed, topped with charred octopus. That's tossed in this beautiful caramelized coconut cream sauce that we make. So it's a long time to simmer. So it gives it a really...
What's the red on top?
Just a bit of tobacco, we wanted to bring that out. It's a seafood dish, so we wanted to bring that out and give that a try.
Yeah.
So. Isn't that gorgeous? That's art.
Yes.
art
right
now,
there.
now this sauce is Chef Wang Ding's signature sauce. He hasn't shared it with us, but
You don't even get the secret?
No, but it's a Takal sauce, so it's really been like it's a collab dinner. So it's definitely, Vincent, my mom, Chef Lee, bringing in, her favorites, and then Wang bringing his favorites too.
Okay, let me try a little of the octopus,
Oh.
if I may. Secret
Right?
sauce.
I know.
That is gorgeous. It is just gorgeous. What excites you most about Vietnamese cooking?
I think, Vietnamese, all the fresh ingredients. There's it's seafood forward, right? And you can really just be really creative and mix and match and everything. There's so much texture and flavors.
Well, and look at this. This little guy perched on.
Yeah. So this is soft shell crab, BC Dungeness crab fried rice with a bit of spicy mayo on the side there.
Yes.
That is
And
just
it's just
spectacular.
been fun, and bringing some of the local things into our dishes.
Right. Well, the local things, and what is most
a
familiar
go.
for a lot of people in Vancouver is the Vietnamese pho. So, what's the secret to the best Vietnamese pho?
Herbs. Herbs is the best thing. It brings out so much flavor and accentuates what we have. This is the rice noodles.
Okay, the rice noodles. So you built this, but
Yes.
there's no broth in it yet, and that's usually how you would do it. You
And
put the broth in right at the end.
Simmering,
Yes.
super hot broth that you just come in.
So the bone broth, it's simmered for over 18 hours. And you just add it, just pour it on top of the beef, and it cooks the beef as we go along.
But isn't that gorgeous?
And there's like so many spices. There's like more than, 12 different spices that go in there into
But
the
that's
soup.
that's a full meal in a bowl, and it's certainly something I crave. We were laughing because it's something I crave this time of year, but it's also something I crave in the heat of summer because it doesn't seem to. It's not like no, I don't feel like soup. It's no, it doesn't matter what the temperature. It just elevates my spirits, and it just feels like the right thing to have. So
Yes.
beautiful. This is a gorgeous bite as well. You know what I'd like to ask you is sort of working in the restaurant industry. What has New Year's? How do you normally celebrate?
I think.
Well, for us, Lunar New Year is what we celebrate on our family. But for our Canadian and Western New Year's, we love to throw on a party. And so we bring that day as an opportunity to push the envelope, bring out new things, and then just really celebrate the new year with a bang and have some fun.
And giving thanks.
Yeah.
Looking back, giving thanks. And, we're all working, our whole team, we're working hard, but we also, once past midnight, we party together and we celebrate each other.
I love it. So it's not like, oh, we got to get through the evening
No,
first.
it's fun.
Finding that balance throughout the evening. I love it. Well, I want to wish you all a very happy New Year. Chef, thank you so much for being here as well. And why don't you throw out a Happy New Year in Vietnamese for us?
Chúc mừng năm mới. And tickets are still on sale. So
Okay.
come visit us. Come
Well, I think you've
celebrate.
just done an amazing sales job with all of this. Highly recommended. Happy New Year to all.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
happy
Hi, this is Rebecca. And I'm Josh. And this is our Vancouver.
Well, the recent snow certainly did inspire many of you to use your cameras. So here are a few images sent in to use this week. Nama Laniado gives us a fresh take on the fresh snow as it sticks to the branches of a backyard tree. Great use of perspective there, Nama. Thank you. Christian Stanley Chileski went for a walk in the storm and took this famous Gastown corner. Nice work there, Christian. Just beautiful. And finally, Bikram Rijal took to the deep powder to find this forest. Just lovely work, Bikram. Thanks to all of you. Great way to just reflect this cold snap we've been enjoying. So you can send them in anytime. Just email your favorite photos to us at bcphotos@cbc.ca. That's bcphotos@cbc.ca. Now, you may have heard of Salmon and Bannock. It's a trendy Indigenous restaurant on West Broadway. And last week, they announced they are expanding to YVR Airport. Vincent Papakwash reports.
YVR Airport is known to have a large Indigenous art collection. Now, they're opening the first ever Indigenous restaurant at an airport. Inez Cook is the owner of Salmon and Bannock, which already has a restaurant on West Broadway. She's from the Nuwak First Nation. Cook says that she was a flight attendant for 33 years and well familiar with making meaningful connections.
It's important to have Indigenous representation everywhere. We're your doctors, we're your lawyers, we're your neighbors, we're right here, we always have been, and we have to have representation everywhere. I have the only Indigenous restaurant in Vancouver and the first Indigenous restaurant at any Canadian airport, and I would love to see Indigenous restaurants everywhere.
Cook says that she hopes having the new restaurant at the airport will help travelers to be able to enjoy local and Indigenous cuisine during their stay in Vancouver.
We've been talking to Inez and the team at Salmon and Bannock for several months because we knew that we wanted to have more local fare in our airport, particularly in places like this, our international terminal, and it just made sense given our commitment and our partnership with Musqueam that we would feature Indigenous cuisine.
You know, part of the dialogue is let's go for sushi, let's go for pizza, let's go for Indigenous.
Now, I really wanted to try this dish. This is bannock chips and salmon dip. Surprisingly savory. Indigenous food sovereignty is more than the right to hunt and gather traditional foods. It's also being present on the world stage of cuisine and allowing that culinary culture to be shared as well. Now, at least here at YVR, that's beginning to happen. Vincent Papakwash, CBC News, Vancouver.
Vincent, thank you so much for that story. And while food is certainly the center of the holidays, the rising cost of food has made a lot of people rethink their menus. Some Indigenous people living in Vancouver are turning to traditional foods to cope. But finding those foods is no easy feat. Our Indigenous Affairs reporter Wamish Hamilton has more.
There's no freezers years ago, so we use coarse salt.
Lynn Doolin is from the Lukwalams First Nation near Prince Rupert. She's lived in East Van for almost a decade. But each year, she goes home to harvest traditional foods.
It's the food that I travel home to in Lukwalams. I go home in May and July to harvest seafood. My family is big seafood harvesters, and it gets us through the winter, so we don't rely too much on going to the grocery store.
In previous years, Doolin would return with just enough to share with family or for special occasions that called for traditional food. She says the rising cost of food in the grocery store is forcing her to rely more on her traditional foods to offset costs.
So expensive. I went to the grocery store a couple of days ago and it was almost a $600 bill and barely seen anything in my freezer or my fridge or my cupboards. And it was like, wow, it's crazy.
Doolin's finding herself in a catch-22 situation. She's gathering food to save money, but the cost of getting that access is rising ever higher. Traveling to harvest salmon, shellfish, seaweed, and more, getting tougher to pull off.
I'm looking to 2023. I'm hoping, because the sockeye is not guaranteed every year. And so I kind of got to stretch it. I've got to be mindful to not take it for granted that I do have it, and because sockeye might not show up in 2023, and then I won't have any seafood for the winter next year.
Sharing food is an important Indigenous cultural practice, but necessity means that Doolin will be forced to keep what she gathers for herself and for her immediate family.
I was generous, like sharing with family and friends, but I don't think I can do that now because I have to save it for my family.
Doolin says Indigenous people don't have the same ability to collect traditional food in an urban center. However, those foods are what make up her identity as a Lukwalams person, and going without, simply not an option.
Biggest thing that we need to remember is that for Indigenous peoples, food is not just calorie or nutrition, but food is identity. Food is the land. And so when all of that is in combination together, that food preservation method is more than just value-added process. It's more than just kind of lengthening the shelf life, but it's a way to preserve their identity. It's a way for them to ensure their food sovereignty. And at the moment, that food sovereignty is under threat because of rising inflation, because of lack of land access, and also because there's a lack of opportunities to actually share these types of knowledges in many different places. We're just not investing enough on Indigenous spaces.
Doolin hopes that accessing that food could be done closer to home, that harvesting might be a cultural right in the Vancouver area spread out to the urban Indigenous populations, a way of tackling the rising cost of food and spreading the wealth amongst a population that's especially feeling the pinch. Wamish Hamilton, CBC News, Vancouver.
Coming up, thankful for safety but stressed for loved ones back home. We go to a Ukrainian Christmas market after the break. Hi, welcome back to Our Vancouver. I'm Gloria Makarenko. Now, Ukrainians who came to Canada seeking refuge from the war are preparing to mark their first Christmas here. The season is bringing mixed emotions as they think of family left behind. Well, dozens of them visited a traditional Ukrainian Christmas market in New Westminster. And as Janella Hamilton reports, it was a chance for the newcomers to reflect and discover new traditions.
From taking photos with St. Nicholas to traditional art and a market filled with Ukrainian artisans and vendors. 13-year-old Sofia Sakvuk says events like this are helping her family adjust to their first Christmas in Canada.
When I do the traditions I do in Ukraine, it feels like I'm home.
Sakvuk, along with her two siblings and father, moved to Canada a few months ago. Her mom, older brother, and grandparents are still in Ukraine. Christmas isn't the same without them, but she's grateful she's safe.
I hope it's going to be the same and it's going to be really comfortable with the family, singing Ukrainian carols.
Traditions Katerina Mala hopes to share with her daughter this Christmas when they celebrate on December 25th. A change from the traditional Julian calendar.
She has calendar on our fridge and she all day just count when will be Christmas.
On Sunday, that Christmas spirit filled the halls of Holy Eucharist Ukrainian Catholic Cathedral. Irina Mitnovich says hosting a traditional Ukrainian market is one way to help newcomers as they navigate their new lives in a new country.
Everybody said that they missed Ukraine, they missed their families, their homes, and maybe if it's any chance we can help them to feel home, like for a day, it will be great for us.
Money raised through the market will be donated to women and children in Ukraine.
Most important when kids can play and try to get some connection and friends, because change country and change language, it's very difficult for them.
Sakvuk says it's been hard being away from her friends back home, but it's meant a lot to her to feel that support from her new friends and classmates in BC.
All the class, like Canadians, Asians, they all sing together our Christmas carol, our Ukrainian Christmas carol, and I started crying because it's really emotional.
Next weekend, the cathedral is hosting a traditional Ukrainian Christmas Eve dinner for the 700 Ukrainian newcomers who now call New Westminster home. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, New Westminster.
Now, for those following the Julian calendar, Orthodox Christmas is January 7th, but the lead up includes many days of feasting with friends and with family. And Elena Krasnova is the owner and chef of Mon Paris Patisserie in Burnaby. Hello there and welcome back.
Hi, Gloria. Thank you for having me.
How busy is this time of year for you?
I would say this is the busiest time of the year for us. As a pastry shop and chocolate shop, people come a lot for the holiday gifts and products for holiday dinner.
Yeah.
And we have lots of items to choose from. We have our signature chocolate boxes, for example.
Let's start over there, okay, with the chocolate boxes. Those look gorgeous. So what kinds of flavors are in there?
We have 16 different flavors in our signature box, and just for the Christmas, we have our chocolate showpieces, which is gingerbread house, which is chocolate gingerbread house.
Gorgeous?
And the poinsettia.
A bite-sized gingerbread house. I like that too. Okay, and the poinsettia.
And poinsettia flowers, nice. And then Christmas trees that we fill with variety of nuts and dry fruits.
Beautiful.
And cookies for Santa.
What kinds of cookies? Are those shortbread or a type of shortbread?
Shortbread cookies, the chocolate shortbread cookie and lemon yuzu shortbread
Beautiful.
cookie as
Now,
well.
if you could smell what I'm smelling right now, it's butter and sugar, and I'm probably because of these baked goods here. But what is this gorgeous red delight?
So this is our centerpiece, I would say, for your dinner table, for your Christmas dinner table. So every year we have 3 types of Christmas logs, so bûche de Noël in French. And this year our special flavor, which is this one, to celebrate Canada, we have a Christmas log made with organic local cranberry juice. So this is cranberry and vanilla Christmas log.
I love it. Okay, so this is sort of the a lot of these would make great gift ideas, but also something to add to your table as you are feasting and celebrating in the lead up. And what have you brought here?
And then here we have what we sell a lot for the New Year Day and New Year Eve. People come a lot for their New Year breakfast. This is our pastries, so we have variety of pastries to choose from.
Count me in for New Year's breakfast.
Freshly baked every morning.
Yes.
And for the New Year Eve as well, we have signature champagne truffles.
Champagne truffles, oh, that's in here. Oh, beautiful. I'm loving that. I'm loving that already. I'm already seeing, but we have a little bit of a toast that we want to do here. This is significant here, and the crown is probably going to give it away, but Elena, why don't you tell us about this?
So this is a traditional king's cake, or galette de roi in French. And so this is made from the puff pastry dough and filled with almond frangipane, we call it.
Oh, beautiful.
And this is very traditional for the French culture especially. And we sell it all the way starting January 6th, which is Epiphany Day, and we sell it all the way through the end of January. So this cake particularly, what's a story behind it that people would buy and share this cake among the friends or family. And when they cut it, we actually hide a small porcelain fave or porcelain charm in it.
Oh, I
and
see.
Whoever gets it in their piece will pronounce the king of the day, and this is what the crown for.
I love it. Just don't bite down too hard on that little porcelain piece. Okay,
Exactly.
and that would be something you would keep afterward as well.
And they're very small porcelain pieces, very cute.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I mean, it must be kind of a bittersweet time for you too. I know that you have Russian roots and Ukrainian roots, and there's some difficult things going on overseas right now. How has that been for you?
Yeah, and this is, I'm sure, very difficult for everybody. And for me, coming from Russia, and I have both Ukrainian and Russian roots in my family. And here in Vancouver, I have friends, both Russian and Ukrainian, same as at home. And during this time of the year, it's very difficult because we all want peace and we all want to be with friends and family. And my heart goes to them, and I hope this will be resolved soon.
Yes, well put, Elena. Can we just have a toast to peace right now?
Yeah.
Happy holidays, and more importantly, peace. Thank you very much for coming in. Well, a holiday tradition has returned to the Queen Elizabeth Theatre this year after a pandemic hiatus. Go Ballet's The Nutcracker. It has been running regular shows, and Christopher Hunt, who plays Mother Ginger, tells us more.
So these are costumes for the flowers. They play an integral part of the production, and they're vibrant, they're beautiful dancers, and these costumes look amazing under the lights on stage. Well, hello there. My name is Christopher Lee Hunt, and I play Mother Ginger in the Go Ballet's Nutcracker. I'm pleased to say that I've been here since the beginning, so it's our 13th year as Mother Ginger. As a young child, I had Osgood-Schlatters disease and wasn't able to dance, but spent all of my youth going to the ballet. It was the passion that my parents allowed me to partake upon. And this big lady would be Mother Ginger. 4 wigs to create this ensemble. Mother Ginger has 4 pieces to her costume. 2 are here. 1 is underneath that you can't see. and then the 12 by 12 full skirt that comes with a platform that I stand on with 2 stagehands that wheel me around and 12 children that we try not to run over. The Go has been on the forefront of diversity, truly. If you look at the dancers, and the Go has always been, they haven't become, they haven't followed the trend, they created the trend. Because you can't get more diverse than the dancers that are here. We've got Asian dancers, we've got black dancers, we've got white dancers. We have many men that are here dancing. We've got the school that brings in all sorts of individuals, all sorts of, from diverse backgrounds. You don't get much more diverse than a black man in his 50s who's gay playing Mother Ginger. A little bit about Mother Ginger. She is larger than life and over the top. Mother Ginger will get the audience clapping, applauding, laughing, and it's something that you don't normally do at the ballet. You just watch. It's very stately, but I turn the party. Mother Ginger knows how to turn the party. It is so wonderful to be back. 2 years was a very long time, and I know as an adult it was a long time for me, let alone these younger individuals, the children, the youth that have been away from each other and performing and being on a live stage in front of a live audience. If you haven't gotten your tickets, please do so. This is a wonderful holiday tradition. Make it yours, and I hope to see everybody at the run.
Hey, I'm Grant Lawrence from CBC Music, and it is that time of year again when we take stock, listen back, and choose the very best of 2022. And in my arena, that means music. And I've had a little help from my friends. Over at cbcmusic.ca, we have released plenty of best of lists for the year, including the big one, the top 100 Canadian songs of 2022. Now, on that list, you'll find everyone from artists that have had resurgent comebacks this year, like Tegan and Sarah, the Black Halos, and Julie Black. Mainstay indie faves like Metric, Stars, and Dan Mangan. Superstars like Tate McRae and The Weeknd, and Searchlight winner Chad Price, as well as relative newcomers like Georgia Harmer, Luna Lee, and Leonie Gray. And now, here are some of my personal favorites from another great year in Canadian music.
Seems like a brand new day has come. Seems like a brand new day has come for you. And it's a setting sun when money leaves on the first of the month. Something I could look into, something that was overdue, but the boys only brought fire and flame. We couldn't use some rain, but I guess it's the same. We'll burn it and we'll build it again. Put 'em down, they said. Put 'em down, they said. Put 'em down, use lead. No more mushing, they said.
There you go. There's some of my favorite songs of 2022. That was The Trade-Offs from Nunavut. Also in there, a great comeback track from Bedouin Soundclash, a female empowerment song from Dominique Fils-Aimé, and the fuzzy feel-good pop of Always. All of those songs by those Canadian artists have also placed in the top 100 songs of the year at cbcmusic.ca, so I'm glad that my personal faves are on the same page as my coworkers. But the big question is, which song placed number 1 on that list? You're gonna have to look up that for yourself at cbcmusic.ca. But hey, I can tell you my favorite song of 2022, and it just so happens to be the #1 fan-voted song of the year on the CBC Music Top 20 radio show. So I'm happy to be on the same page as listeners too. Check it out.
Broken promises and bridges burned. Don't be so hard on yourself. Best intentions and lessons learned. Don't be so hard on yourself. You fell short and you went too far. Don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah, life is just a shooting star. Don't be so hard on yourself. You only get one chance. It's your last dance and the last call. We all fall.
Yes, that is Don't Be So Hard on Yourself, the uber positive, uplifting, self-help collaborative hit by Kitchener-Waterloo singer Danny Michel. That's the one where he recorded audiences at folk festivals across the country, singing along to that one, and then mixed the voices into that finished recording. I'm Grant Lawrence, and Don't Be So Hard on Yourself by Danny Michel is my #1 song of 2022. What's yours? Happy holidays, and I'll see you in the new year.
Coming up, community, compassion, and haircuts. We check in with the street thug Barbers after the break. Hi, welcome back to Our Vancouver. I'm Gloria Makarenko. Now, there's nothing like a good haircut to lift your spirits, something that the street thug barbers know better than most. They have been giving free haircuts to residents of the downtown east side since 2015, and they've become a source of community to their clients. Just watch.
Graham Stevens. We're in Oppenheimer Park. Street thug barbers come every Sunday, give free haircuts.
How are you? Good, man.
Lifts your spirit, makes you feel more human, like you're a wanted person. I stop by every Sunday, not just to get my hair cut, but just to stop and chit-chat and say hi to the people, because it's like a gathering. You come every Sunday, it's almost like going to a church or something like that, and you know, it's everybody gathers, family reunion, more or less.
My name is Cameron Sterling, and I'm a hair colorist and a barber. I did my first haircut in prison in 1993, not knowing what I was doing. Street Thug started in August of 2015. It's really neat how the community receives it, because we aren't a non-profit. We're funded by my wife and I, and anyone that wants to come out and bring their own tools. Like having a client in your chair, you get to know them and know their stories, and that's how it's evolved over the years. You know, like Graham, a lot of our friends have become close friends of ours, not just a haircut anymore. We break that intimacy barrier with massage or haircuts, and it kind of promotes sharing. You feel it when they come out just for a hug on a Sunday morning, because they know it's 10 in the morning and you're going to be there. And a lot of people don't have people in their lives. When I cleaned up 7.5 years ago, fentanyl was just coming on the scene. And in order to do what we do every week, we always half joke that we have to love hard, lose heart. We lose a lot of clients on the downtown east side. Some just don't come back and you don't know where they are. And it's tough. We lost 13 people in the last 2 years. You get over the loss and you look to being happy that we had that time with the people and could give them a smile and some safe space for a while they had it. New pizza place opening across the street. Definitely the best part about our Sundays is the feeling we get when we leave the park, the feeling we get when we're in the park, and building relationships.
It's just human people being humans, treating everybody equal.
A quiet road through BC's Lower Mainland has a reputation for keeping the faith. The so-called Highway to Heaven, it's home to a number of temples, mosques, churches, and religious schools. And as Lindsay Duncombe shows us, a new holiday tradition is uniting families and faiths.
There are 20 houses of worship along this stretch of Number 5 Road in Richmond. A miracle of sorts, if zoning rules fit your definition of miracles. And for the first time this holiday season, children from different faiths are taking advantage of that proximity to share their traditions.
Because then they can understand what we believe in, and we can understand what they believe in, and then we won't be like proud and boast all around that our faith is the best.
That is important because sometimes they think bad things about us, we think bad things about them. So I want both of us to know about each other so that we don't think that way.
When we talk about the light from Allah, are we talking about those lights on the ceiling? What are we talking about?
Pure light.
So that's why today we're going to make some lanterns.
What the children learn through lessons and crafts is that all their religions, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, have rituals and traditions related to light.
So when we see a star sitting on top of a Christmas tree or fashioned into a beautiful ornament, we're reminded of the light of Christ.
What do you think the message from today should be for people?
That there's always something that will shine for you and help you.
Then brave men cried out.
And let's face it, this year, this last couple of years, have been pretty dark.
The way to really combat and address anti-Semitism and racism and discrimination is through education.
Teachers noted the 9- and 10-year-olds were remarkably well behaved, polite, helpful. They seemed to get the point.
Maybe it can make a better community.
After all, no matter what you believe, it is the season of miracles. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Richmond.
Coming up, remembering the Vancouver snowstorm of 1996 when the military came to our rescue. Hi, welcome back to Our Vancouver. I'm Gloria Makarenko. You know, it's a debate that feels as old as Christmas itself now. Get a real Christmas tree or a fake one? Well, for customers of Trinity Tree Farms in Kelowna, the choice is obvious. Just watch.
Here at Trinity Tree Christmas Tree Farm, we sell Christmas trees. Local ones, most of them are from Enderby that we grow ourselves, the Douglas fir, and then we bring in the specialty trees as well, the Noble, Fraser, and Grand Firs, also done by another local company.
We get one every year, and we have to have a live tree. It smells right. It's a nostalgia factor, and so we since we discovered this lot a couple years ago, we've been coming here every year. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a tree. It's the right shape. Like, it's hard to find a tree here that's not a Christmas tree. So.
Well, thank you for coming early, and I'm glad everybody was able to hopefully get a tree, and looking forward to seeing everybody for next year. And hopefully we can get them out earlier so everybody gets exactly what they want.
It's wild. This is a wild thing.
With each sweater come memories for Chris Boyd and Jordan Birch.
This is called the Elvis Stoico.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, this is one of our favorites.
The pair are widely seen as the founders of the ugly Christmas sweater phenomenon 2 decades ago.
We set out to organize the cheesiest, most feel-good party imaginable. So the sweaters were a component of that. Kind of blew up on us. Within 3 years, we were down in the Commodore Ballroom, attracting crowds of 1,000 people.
For years, their parties attracted thousands and were a staple of the holiday calendar in Vancouver. Boyd and Birch own the Canadian patent to Ugly Christmas Sweater and are behind the City of Vancouver proclaiming Ugly Christmas Sweater Day a decade ago, among the first to do so.
Two guys in Canada, nostalgic for the Jingle Bell sweaters of their...
And it's snowballed since then, with the pair getting international recognition for their role in popularizing the trend. But they acknowledge they didn't invent it.
Sweaters have been around for a long time, you know, originally like Nordic sweaters, kind of ski sweaters with the snowflake or the reindeer.
The once rowdy parties have morphed into family-friendly runs, embracing holiday joy one ugly sweater at a time. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Port Moody, BC.
It has been a cold and stormy week across much of BC, but back in 1996, a full-on blizzard buried the South Coast with so much snow, roofs collapsed. Eve Savory filed this report to The National on the storm's aftermath.
It was shortly after 4 a.m. when 50 of Peter Friesen's best Holsteins heard a terrible noise and felt a crushing pain.
It's just got too much weight on it.
A huge section of Friesen's cow barn had collapsed under the weight of a meter of snow. These were the best milk producers of the herd. And now he watched as firefighters struggled to free the terrified animals that had survived.
We're saving some of them. We don't know whether the veterinarian will look after them. Right now we're taking them out of here and putting them in the hay shed where it's dry and they got some good footing to get up. Some of them are getting up and some aren't.
Those that didn't, those with shattered hips and broken backs, the SPCA was forced to shoot. And roofs are collapsing in the Victoria area as well. One man suffered a concussion and aircraft were damaged when this hangar broke under 65 centimeters of wet snow.
It's kind of a write-off. The other hangar, Viking Airs, which is that one, hangar number 3, is sagging quite a bit in the middle, and they've condemned it apparently.
And when the boathouse roofs at Capital City Yacht Club went, so did some 20 boats.
The storm just came in and blew about 8 feet of snow onto this particular complex behind me, and the thing started breaking up and just sank the whole thing.
Chalk up another couple of $1 million in damage. And the rural districts around Victoria are still snowbound. Machosen firefighters are running in medical supplies, baby formula, and where ambulances cannot go, they are getting people to hospital, such as this gentleman with a deteriorating heart condition.
You comfortable enough? Yeah, good show. It's a lot better than walking.
All this has given new life to a debate from last year when Ottawa started to close the Armed Forces base at Chilliwack. This week, when the provincial government asked the military for help, it learned it would take some 24 hours or more to get the heavy equipment in from the Edmonton base. But Ottawa is refusing to reconsider the closure.
I don't think that we could possibly begin to evaluate the need for military establishments in this country based on weather occurrences every 75 years.
You can't have that kind of policy halfway and leave provinces in lurch, as we would have been if the disaster would have been any more serious.
But there has been only one death, a 36-year-old Navy lieutenant who died of carbon monoxide poisoning trying to keep warm in his car. People came through for each other again and again, probably saving hundreds of lives in Southwest BC's storm of the century. Eve Savory, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now, at the end of this program, we like to tip our hats to our talented photojournalists on staff here at CBC Vancouver. They bring us images in their artful ways to give more depth and character to the stories that we cover. So here is a sampling from what they saw this past week. And that's all for Our Vancouver for this week. I hope you can join me weekday afternoons on CBC Radio 1 for On the Coast. Happy holidays.